Alright, you're gonna have to sit straight for this one. I have a lot to say about this episode in terms of both serious and unserious commentary. We essentially have two parts to this episode. The first one about an honestly pretty terrible romance subplot with Lotte here. The second one is about Tenma and the sniper rifle, with one of my favorite moments to reference from the show just for how baffling the whole thing is. But first things first. Lotte tries to invite Carl on a date, but he has found happiness without women in his life.
もうそのことはいいんだ。
でも
ごめん、今ちょっと急いでるんだ。父が出席しなくちゃいけない会合があってさ。
今度のダンスパーティーなんだけど。
She is not taking it well. To cope with her failure as a woman, she mopes in the library during her research phases, where she runs into a familiar face. And of course we have this wonderful line setting up a picture book level moral lesson. Also, wow, how convenient that you happen to meet here.
Huh?
Pretty sure that is not the soundscape of someone doing research, unless she's speed reading an article between every double click. Lotte and Anna hang out, with one of the most awkward conversations ever put to animation. The way Lotte just changes the topic is giving me whiplash, and Anna seems pretty stunned too. Although she kinda doesn't react to anything going on here, so not sure if that's intentional.
だからあなたみたいな綺麗な子は世の中すべて思い通りになるんじゃないの？
何が言いたいの？
例えばあなた恋愛問題とかで悩んだりすることなんてないでしょう。いいのいいの、私みたいな悩みなんて縁がないでしょ。やっぱり神様って不公平よね。ね、今夜付き合わない？ダンスパーティー。
Fuck you! Do you want to go to a party? And she actually does.
私はこういうところはちょっと。
まあまあそう言わずに、あなたと一緒ならみんな声かけてくるわ。ほらほら、
よろしく。
あらま、ずいぶんなのが来ちゃった。よくまああんな顔でニナに声かけられたもんね。何人もあなたに声かけてきたのに、ニナがそっけなさすぎるのよ。
別にそっけなくしてなんか。でも久しぶりに楽しい。
You are having fun? As it turns out, this guy was literally paid off by Carl to be Lotte's date, which is fucking hilarious, but the show treats it like a minor apocalypse. Naoki, is there another thing you need to talk with your therapist about? Other than assaults his ass, which seems a bit strange timing-wise. Like, he just explained he's just in it for the money, so he's basically less threatening than he was before. If you're gonna beat his ass, you should have done it earlier. I guess she's trying to make up for time.
好きだったから、カールのこと好きだったから彼の父親探しに協力したの。私彼のこと好きだったから。でも彼がシューバルトの本当の息子だって証明できたら。
How dare he love his aging father more than the person who never told him about any romantic interest and is just a friend? Who cares about fathers anyway? The final wrap-up, while a bit annoyingly vague, is actually alright though, and so is Lotte finally clocking that her new body looks a lot like that secretary. And now, for something completely different. Ooh, scary twink. Does he know Tenma is here? Or did he just happen to look into that direction randomly? Both is nonsense, by the way. Tenma then gets accosted by this old Nazi who apologizes to this forest, for reasons we will learn soon. No, I do not know the means of his apology. Maybe he waters the trees. Okay, I get your whole shtick with the food, we've been over it before, but why is he even ordering food if he didn't plan to eat it? Anyway, some unspecified time later, Tenma tries to psych himself up for the Johan kill, but since Johan keeps hanging around kids, Tenma decides the only time to kill him without scarring a whole horde of young minds has to be when he's in the forest. Karl and Schuwald can probably handle a little blood and brains. He then pretends to do push-ups in front of the TV once more, goes to eat again, but then the owner forces a soup on him. This whole chain of events is rather meandering, which may be the point, showing that Tenma is just stuck on this whole shit, but is still kind of irritating. Back in the forest, he throws up against this tree. Come on, Johan is not that ugly. To remind you, this is probably why he didn't eat before going here, but once again, why bother ordering then? Tenma stumbles across the old Nazi, who divines that Tenma is a doctor. Why wouldn't a hunter know first aid though? Then the birds start singing above them, I guess because Tenma's messiah energy draws them here. While that may sound like I'm joking again, that is pretty much exactly what the scene is going for. The Nazi explains that the birds used to perch on his arm here, but when he joined up with Hitler, eagerly and willingly I might add, he had to shoot a foreigner that he assumes to be innocent in this forest, and ever since then the birds have avoided him. Now might be a good time to remind you that Monster is often praised for being realistic. While it is true that the show attempts to be that quite often, success notwithstanding, I rarely, if ever, see scenes like this mentioned. And they really should be, because Monster also tries to dabble in mysticism quite often. Johan's abilities are probably meant to be supernatural, unless Naoki actually believes you can do that shit he does. And this whole idea here of nature recognizing the moral goodness of human beings is also nowhere close to anything resembling reality. I don't take an inherent issue with the exploration of such ideas, but in Monster's case I will do so, because it falls into the same vein that a lot of mystical ideas do, in a remarkably self-indulgent one. If we play Naoki's game here for a minute and pretend that the only way to stop Johan is to kill him on sight, the reasons this scene implies as to why you shouldn't do it is not any logical one, but rather it appeals to a more vague idea of it being an evil act. The sanctity and purity of the forest was defiled by the Nazis' crime, and now Tenma's goodness was able to return it to its proper state. So killing Johan would taint the forest, this place of harmony and light, once more. I think that is about the gist. The issue I take with this is that, in simple terms, it is absolute fucking nonsense. You can't work with any of this. How is one supposed to derive any meaningful maxim from this shit? Couldn't you, by the same logic, argue that Johan's presence harms the sanctuary the forest is meant to be, so removing him as soon as possible is always the right thing to do? I can argue for that as well, and it would be just as pointless. This shit here is not meant to actually teach you anything about how the world is, or ought to be. It is here to give your bitch-ass pussiness an air of justification. Because it couldn't just be that being afraid to fight can be a bad thing. No, Tenma's not a coward, he is actually just doing what is the right and good, you see. This is basically a religious affirmation that what you do is the right thing in the eyes of something higher and greater than you that will give you good karma or bring your soul to heaven or some shit. It's nonsense. Self-indulgent nonsense, written by a loser who wishes his father would love him, and who cannot fathom the idea that maybe the world is not made up of the pure and the good like him, and the bad and corrupt others. It may be fun to just point and laugh at it, but frankly the underlying mindset is nothing short of disgusting. What ties into that as well is the Nazis' ramblings about how he apologized to the forest for 60 years and finally found forgiveness now. Apologizing to the forest doesn't do jack or shit. If you want to prop up this patch of land because you feel like it should do some good to balance the crimes against your fellow men, sure, do that. It doesn't erase your crimes though, nor does it help the people you actually harmed. Additionally, he doesn't do anything to actually help the forest. He's just here and feels sorry for himself. And that, my dear watchers, is the exact thing Naoki Urasawa would tell you what it's all about. It's not about actually doing anything, making the world a better place, shooting a twink in the head. No, it's about telling yourself in your heart that you are a good person now, while the world burns around you. If we were to not play Naoki's game though, we could also say that Tenma is not going to kill Johan because at first he was too much of a pussy, and now that he's a Disney princess and it would make a Nazi sad, he is basically obligated to let this crazy serial killer do his thing freely. Way to fucking go, Tenma. To fix this episode, cut everything about Lotta's day out except her realizing that Anna and Johan look similar and I guess the basic premise, and cut the entire Nazi forest arc as well, and have Tenma not shoot Johan immediately because he's in a crowd of kids and leave it at that. Would make Johan a better villain as well, deliberately using kids as human shields. But yeah, enough from me from now.